Hello, people. Can you hear me all right? Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Right, let me get that form link sent over into chat. All right. So I am finally trying it, y'all. I am trying a feedback request stream. So you can just send any level to me and I will play it. So I get my feedback on it. If need be, I do have a number randomizer. So if we get too many requests, that's what we're going to do. Now, before I start, I do want to mention that kind of my philosophy behind level requesting. And that's, I strongly believe that every level made has a reason that it was made. There's an intent behind why you made your level. And I want to know that before I give you feedback. So that's why I have the question on the forum that says, why did you make your level? If the reason was to have fun, that's great. To tell a story, to give an emotional appeal to your player. Like Farewell Star Chaser does a great job of that. That's important. There's also maybe some negative ones, like I built it solely to get creator points. Might be a bit iffy depending on who you are. If you are someone who already has a lot, that might be something that defers me. But if it's like to expand my skill in animation, that's awesome. I can give feedback on that. So, yeah, that is my philosophy. Now, when it comes to evaluating actual levels themselves for whether they're rate-worthy or not, I look more to execution rather than gameplay and decoration as individually. So, you might hear me talk a lot about, I think this might have been better executed if you did this. That would be an example of, hey, maybe our execution needs to be a little bit better. But that's kind of my philosophy at the moment. It's always changing, so I figured, though, it's a good place to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the first couple levels as they are in the form. And if it gets real crazy, I will go ahead and just switch to random. So let's start with the first one then. I'm realizing maybe I should have the form up on this computer so I can actually grab the IDs. Hello, Falling Pie. Hello, everybody. Time-lapse by Kinda Expert. A 1.4 level. Awesome. I'm not a huge fan of the 1.4 update, but I do love the levels that come from it. I think they are awesome, so let's give this a try. Oh, I wanted to read what the... Let's also read that. Made for fun. That is great. Seems like you also wanted to make a level in the time period of 1.4 as well. That's really nice. Already, I can say that your sync in the background is awesome. I see you also went for more of a classic 1.4 style, which is really cool. The gameplay is fun, works really well. I will say the gameplay feels very well executed. That is a little bit of a questionable jump, but I think that's the only one I've noticed so far. These rocket parts are slightly harder than the cube ones, so keep that in mind. If that was intentional, that's okay. But at the moment they stand, they're a little difficult compared to the cube parts we just had. I might use smaller saws in some of those corridors. Yeah. That is a great simple 1.4 styled level. Like it in Pathfinder, the sync between the background and the ground is really cool and something that I know, kind of expert, that you love to do as a signature. And I think it works really well in this style as well. You requested 6 to 9. That feels about right. Yeah. I will say perhaps, and this is an execution thing, there's a couple sections, especially if we get going here. First, I might recommend using more of the player color 2 decorations in some of the parts that only have the player color 1 decorations. That kind of adds some variation here. So like this part could maybe use the player 2 color. And right here, copy and paste I know is really common, especially from levels of the actual time period. I would recommend maybe staying away from that, even adding some variation to the structure, like having like white lines kind of squiggling down could add a lot of character even to a transition like this going up to the sky. But man, the sync is on point, as to be expected from you. Yeah. And I also might you also want to watch your ship gameplay. It's a tad difficult, but other than that, yeah, this is really good. Yeah, very fun level. I think I would potentially send that if I was a mod. I'm not going to worry about that too much right now, but the sync and the gameplay is very well executed. There's some copy and paste problems in the decoration, perhaps, but other than that, it's a very well executed level. Yeah, especially for its update limitations. Nice work. I should probably make a folder for this. All right, we're going to add that to folder 8. There's just one form. I just put it multiple places so you can find it. What a banger level to start this off with. All right, and then we're going to delete the response so I don't get it again. All right, Wes level is next. Oh, I need to actually copy it. Look up this. Having multiple computers is making this one. Oh boy, it's an extreme. Okay. Well, I'm not sure how far I'd be able to get inside it, but we'll experience nostalgia and ability to explore the level and not being a cluster jank of gameplay and deco. Let's try to make it fun with white spaces and timings and not annoying gameplay. Hopefully it got nerfed a bunch of times. We put it as an extreme demon though, so we'll take a look. I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to be able to play, but... Oh, why did that not work? Oh, try that again. There we go. Wes Pencore. Oh, this is for a creator contest. All right, I will give it a try. I'm not sure how good this is going to go, but we'll see. Ooh. Yep, this is difficult. Right. You know, even though it's really hard, the gameplay does feel like it would get really consistent if, you know, you were pretty good at the game. Oh, is that not... Do those slopes not work? Oh, hold on. Alright, finally, that's done. I am so sorry, y'all. Okay, while that was going on, I took the time to look at this in the video. So I'm going to take a copy so we can take a look at it inside the editor to make things easier. And I will say you did a really nice job on the blocks here. That being said, though, I also understand that this is very heavily inspired from another level. Now, you want to be careful if you're going to be doing that. I know especially the part right here has been criticized in other servers as being a direct stolen replica. So I would heavily recommend doing your own stuff for levels like this, especially if you're doing stuff that looks like it's from a GDPS. I know this is based off of Alloy Core. It's a little bit too based off Alloy Core, if that makes sense. There's quite a few people that have pointed it out, saying that it is a shameless copy. And I'm not going to say that here. I just want you to be aware of it, especially with extremes. This becomes a problem because extremes are memorable. So when you're making an extreme, try to do your own stuff. Don't try to take inspiration from other places. Really try to make it as original as you can. Otherwise, there's a great showmanship of working 1.9 animations here. A lot of this is good. I will say, even though it's an extreme, watch out for transitions that drop you right into it, like this wave transition I noticed in the video. You basically have to immediately hold up to avoid the slope here, but not too high, or else you die in the spikes. So do watch out for some of the transitional spots that might accidentally create some problems. Otherwise, yeah, really cool stuff. I'm not sure if I would send this if I was a mod, mainly due to I would want to see player experiences for extremes in particular, as well as making sure that everything isn't stolen. Not to say that that's the case here, but there is questionable doubt. Like, I know Maniac Dennis put in the chat that the star might be taken from a different level. So I would want to make sure that is not the case before sending something like that. But yeah, really cool stuff regardless. I can see you put a lot of effort into that. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention. The message at the end. Before I move on to the next level. The message right here at the end. Oh, I think you erased it. Okay, the one that was in the old video. I'm glad you erased it because the message looked a little unprofessional, which also can have a bad mindset towards your level. So, yeah, glad to see that's erased. Yeah, that's my feedback to you. So, I would recommend maybe trying some more original stuff just to avoid any accusations. Okay. According to the forum, we have 19 forum stuff. Sorry, 20 forum stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some randomization here. And we randomized 3. All right, let me pull that up here. All right, a McChicken level. Description just says, I like 1.4. Now, I will say that doesn't help me too much to understand your level, but I can work with that. So I'm guessing this was probably made for fun in the 1.4 update. Would that be correct, McChicken? You kind of made this just for fun? Yep. All right. Let's give it a play. All right. First thing I want to say, McChicken, is these dots that you're using in your name are not actually from the old updates. That dot was actually introduced in 1.8. So just so you know, it's okay as a logo, but if you do any like other text with it, people will point that out. That's just for future reference. lot of 1.4 building, it looks like. Good sinker orb like that. Or not a sinker orb, a short hop. There we go. Short hop setup. Ooh, okay. That transition right there. I'm liking the design so far. That transition comes off as a little sudden. I might even add an extra arrow up above it just to help the players know that, hey, there's a tap you have to do here. Or even just making it a pad, making it an auto transition would also be a great idea. Classic Clutterfunk styled ball memory. Very common inside demons at this time. This feels a little tight. I would maybe branch out the yellow one a little bit further out, but... Oh, maybe you're not supposed to go through that. Never mind. I think you're fine there. All right. I'm liking the designs at the bottom of the blocks. It's really cool. Jeez. Oh, we're doing one of those setups. Alright, this gameplay is playing alright. Yeah, so that's the example of the text I was saying. How the text is, this dot is not until like 1.7, 1.8. So, yeah, corner. Yeah, next, maybe even the next update after that. So, oh yeah, that was a 1.6 feature, I think. Something like that. This ball gameplay is really nice. I will say, I do wish there was more sync in the background, especially in that section. And in this section as well. Because especially since the song has changed musically, there should be something that changes in the background to help illustrate that. Love the mountains in the background there. Those look cool. Yeah, 1.8. Yeah, so, yeah. Watch out for using that dot. That dot is not from this update. Other than that, I would definitely take a look at some of the gameplay sections. I think there might have been better execution there. Because some of the gameplay feels a little weird to a player who is just playing your level for the first time. Yeah, like this is fine. This ball section's fine. That part I might nerf a little bit if it was me. That section I would change a little bit. That is a little hard to read. It's easy to perform once you know it, but... Other than that, I really like the way that you decorated this. So, yeah, I would change the dots in the text, and I would also maybe do another pass-through on the gameplay, making sure that it's all readable from a first-person point of view. Oh, that's not all right. Yeah, really cool. Really cool stuff. Okay, yeah. I do play on mobile, but when I stream, I have to play on computer. That's because I play on Android, and you can't stream the game on Android without doing some random bullcrap. So, we are on computer. Thanks to that. All right, 22 responses, so we're going to update that and generate a new one, 21. I actually pulled number 21, so that's cool. GeoGames GD has made a moderate difficulty level. Aha! The case of the song is what provided the inspiration for the level. You wanted the player to feel dreamy when playing it. All right. Well, let's give it a go here. 9-star level. I love me some 9 stars, so. First thing I'm going to say is having the gravity be this low really does help with the dreaminess. I'm glad that you picked that up. For more dreaminess, I would suggest adding maybe some blending glow as well. That can add some like ethereal feelingness to it. Because right now this kind of feels like a nature level more than the ethereal that you're going for. I do like the camera filter in this. It's subtle and also helps with the feeling that it's slightly different than it usually is. That imaginary feeling, I guess. Oop, a little skip there. Your gameplay seems to sync very well to the song, which is really cool. I do think having variation in your deco will help, as well as maybe using the background a little bit more. Here's what I'm talking about with the dreaminess. That works. Again, I think maybe having some blending could also help sell the ethereal atmosphere a little bit. Like I see you have it on some of the blocks. Maybe on like the main clouds around the edges to really help add that like add some stuff. So in that last part, I think maybe I really like the feeling of it. I would move this sun a little bit further in. That's because some devices are going to have shorter screens in this. Oh, what does it look like on hitboxes? Yeah, I should fix this. You see how that doesn't have a hitbox? I would recommend fixing that, because that might be a secret way. Let me just... not a secret way, but just accidental swag. It'll confuse players who reach that, so yeah. Alright, let's turn that off for right now. This is a bit of a sudden transition. Trying to think how you could best do that. Probably have a screen overlay for this transition, like something on top 3 that fades it to black and then refades it back out. I think that would help, because at the moment it's a little bit sudden. Oh, it would look awesome if we had like twinkling in the blocks, like it just subtle block pulses, pulsing like back in and out during this section. Do you kind of see that vision? And then background pulses slightly here. I think that would look awesome. And there's a lot of movement going on here, but I would like to see maybe a little bit more movement with the asteroids, you know? The asteroids are grooving a little bit. Kind of showing that, yeah, this is a space, everything's floating around, so yeah. Yeah, so let me hop into the editor. We'll talk through some of those suggestions a little bit more in detail. So, love that we start low and then go up into space. That is awesome progression. I would potentially maybe work a little bit more on this. Instead of having the grass so short on the block, I might suggest you expand it out a little bit using the scale Y, just so that it's a little bit more obvious here that there's grass on top. And then I would maybe rotate a few of these around just to add some variation to that block, you know? That gives a little bit more variation to it. Here, I would maybe hide these lines beneath so that you get that full block. It makes it look a little bit more natural. All right. Love the abstractness in the tree there. We talked about adding some variation to the flowers. Maybe you have a flower that is missing a couple petals. Or maybe the flower is a little bit longer than the others. Let me see if can I make it longer. I cannot make it longer. But you kind of get the idea. All right. Yeah, gameplay was actually pretty fun on that section. I would recommend not being able to see those white boxes. Those look a little weird, but this part is pretty nice. The best suggestion for here, some clouds passing in the background, kind of showing that there's some motion going on. So you can have like clouds on a move trigger and they're moving away. That would look really cool. All right. Oh, these are all on. They're on the hide trigger. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Good use of hide. I always forget that's in the game. We talked about having maybe a fade transition there. You can even have it cover this entire area, just to make sure that it's a little bit less jarring. I don't think the themes are very sudden. The whole point is like we're climbing higher and higher into the atmosphere, which I can totally understand that. I would love to see these flash. That would be awesome as you're going through that. And then this section, these asteroids, I'd love to see them move around a little bit. Woo! Just even like in place, rotating around. And then you can have several of them. Maybe you have some of them that are like rotating the opposite direction. So they almost look like little bees swarming in the sky. That'd be really cool. Yeah, that's kind of my feedback right now. You have a great start, especially for your first level. Really like that. Your creativity and progression is on a very good start right now. So I'd love to see more from you in the future, for sure. All right. Hope I didn't talk too fast there. So, yeah. And I hope that was helpful for you. We got 29 responses. Jeez. Wow. I can see why some moderators struggle with time. There's a lot to talk about and not much time to go through. All right. I pulled 25. Let's do 25 now. I apologize if your level that you submitted early is not getting played. I'm trying my best here. Okay. Every wave. Oh no. Let's see what they said about the creation of this. They were bored, so they made a solo extreme demon. I do not see a video, so if I can't play this for very far, I'm just gonna have to skip it. Still working on it. It's a every end sequel, but for the wave. Still not finished. Use ignore damage. I unfortunately don't have the ability to use ignore damage, so. Oh, this is a long one, isn't it? Oh boy. Ooh, yeah, that's hard. That is hard. I'm going to take a quick look at this in the editor. Okay. Ooh, be careful with these. You cannot see the hitbox as easy as you would imagine. So I would maybe not, or make it obvious where the hitboxes are in that section. All right, yeah. So you have a good idea about what you want to do. I think like how every end is designed is every end is designed with gameplay progression as the number one thing in mind. That you can feel that like the gameplay works in tandem with itself all the way through the level. It just kind of keeps building and building and building. In this, it kind of feels like there's just sections. And like here's a really hard section, and then you got an easier section, and then maybe a somewhat difficult section. I would maybe try to find a way to incorporate it a little bit better. Also, play around with height. So you can put down a wave portal near the top, and then that automatically gives you, hey, we got even more wave to look at. You can even maybe do a free fly wave part. Just some ideas to play around with. I would also suggest changing the background color depending on where you are in the song. I don't know if you do that later down the level or not. Yeah. So try doing some background. This is really cool. Yeah. So do more unique things as well with the gameplay as you've been doing over there. So yeah, focus on the progression of the gameplay. Focus on our background and the way that it syncs to the music. And keep doing some of the unique stuff that you've been doing in some sections of this level. That would be my recommendation for that. So, very cool. All right. For the sake of, since there's not a video and it's a very long level, we're just going to skip it for now. But I hope that feedback is helpful. That would be what I would recommend. Okay. It's on this form. That. Just gonna delete the form here so I don't. Simply okay. I pulled response 9. Let's see what that is. An NLK submission. Interesting. Well, we will take a look at this. Snow Angels. I have played Snow Angels before, and it's a really cool level. All right. Wanted to represent the peacefulness of winter as well as the magical feeling of the holiday season. Also wanted to represent the song as well as I could. Just putting this in for feedback practice for you. Well, I appreciate it, NLK. So, yeah, if you haven't checked out Snow Angels, I'd recommend it. It is a 1.0 level that uses white as the main color, so we are going to switch to that. And the way that they help show off that winter peacefulness and progression of winter to the song is really cool. So you have the gameplay that's supporting the bass rhythm. Bum, 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 bum. That gameplay fits in with that, and then the background is fitting in with the melody, which is really cool. That is some very well done sync. And progression-wise, we're starting off really peaceful in kind of a snowy forest. Very unique for a 1.0 style as well. Gameplay still reflecting that song, even though it's a simple rocket section. Also, the background, the snowflakes are help supporting the rest of the song, which is really cool. This is a showcase off of some of the holiday classic art pieces that you might see, with the iconic Snow Angels between each one. That's really neat. Fitting very well with the song, doing a great job showing off the peacefulness that the song also helps to bring. So, it's a feel-good winter project, and I really appreciate it for that. Even though it's simple, it does a really nice job with the way it demonstrates its theme. Hang on a second. All right, we're going to keep talking. Yeah, so this would definitely be a level I would send, maybe even for a feature. And that's because I think it's very well executed. It has a reason for why it wants to exist, and it fulfills that reason. It does a great job meeting that boundary. So, yeah. Ooh, that's loud. One of the things I really like about levels like this is that they fit their song perfectly. It's not the level uses the song, it's the level is the song. And that is something I wish to see more of in the game, because really fun when you get to that point. All right, let me remove that response from the list. I highly recommend trying Snow Angels if you haven't yet. It's pretty easy too. All right, we're gonna move that one from the list here, and we got 30 responses now. We keep just gaining stuff. That's crazy. 15. Jacob Swaggy 89. The reason for making the levels to have a jolly good time. I love that. That is a great way to make a level. Sink never clear. Oh boy. Let us take a look. You requested it's a 6-star. All right, should be able to. Let me get my color back. Hold on. We're going to first start off with I love that as camera control usage. That is used sparingly and it's really effective. I would maybe like to see maybe a lesser version on like that secondary beat because we have it boom and then there's a second boom but there's nothing happening. So maybe consider that. Adding something to the second boom. Especially that part of the song. Duh. Yeah, love to see some more camera work on the second boom. Love the background. That's really cool. I would potentially, hold on, let's look at that section. Change up some of the block designs here, even as something as simple as some of them have spikes, or some of them have scratches or bits missing out of them. Just to add some variation. So it's not just the exact same copy and pasted work. Okay, I don't like that camera effect. I think that might be a little bit out of place. I think this is cool. Add an arrow pointing to the right here. It's a little confusing that that's the exit. It kind of just looks like a random route. So having more stuff sync to the music in that section would be cool. Ooh, I do not like those camera effects. I would not include those. I would actually take those away. I think that actually hinders from the execution of the level. Not sure if I agree with the saws there. Yeah, these camera effects are really distracting. Also, that is a bit of a blind click right there. Right, let's give it one more playthrough at the beginning. I really like how solid this beginning is. I do feel like some of the execution sort of breaks away as you play through the level. Especially that ending there, I do think you should rework that. The camera controls are kind of carrying it, which is never a good thing, and they're also really distracting. The beginning here, I think, does a better job with the camera controls because the song kind of helps push them along. Otherwise, yeah, copy and paste is okay if you do it with some variation, and I do feel like if you don't do enough variation, it kind of takes away from the execution of the level, you know? Otherwise, I do like a lot of the elements in this. I like how this is a more quiet, mellow section where the song gets quiet and mellow. That works really nicely. And I can for sure see the jolly time you had with this. So, seems like a very fun collab that you had. But if you're going for a rate, I would recommend maybe fixing some of those things that I did mention. Did Sync ever actually play this? If not, I would love to see him give that a try. So, yeah. Let me add that to my folder here. Really cool stuff. I need to get used to deleting and then randomizing. Maybe I should just put my randomizer up here. Guess what, guys? We got response 30 next. That's our top response right now. All right, so this is a work in progress, it seems. Let me see what they said about the level. It's an extreme demon. There's no video, and it was made for fun. Okay, so it seems to be very short. Maybe I'll be able to get through it. Let's take a look. Okay. Not much to work off, but I think there's a start pause. So let's hop in here and see if we can play it from the very beginning of it. Oh no. Oh boy, yeah, that is hard. I think I can actually do some, there we go, yeah. All right. My biggest recommendation, since you're making this for fun, you should make it fun. This is really tight. And that beginning is not a very fun thing to play. So I would recommend maybe erasing that, widening this spike gap a little bit so that it's more fun for the player to play and also more fun for you to play through, you know? Related to these spikes, I love the variation that you're using inside the spikes there. I think it looks really cool, and it could potentially lead to a cool effect when you actually, if you decide to decorate the level. So, past that, there's not too much to comment on right now. I would just recommend widening it, making a fun experience over a hard experience. That's something that I would always recommend to players, especially those who are first starting off building. Always strive for fun more than for difficult. But yeah, cool stuff. All right, let me just move that. Let me pull up so I can keep this in the same space. All right, number 19. I guess there's actually 31 there. By Sambix GD. Svom. All right, let's take a look. It is first level for the rate and gain creator skill. I agree with the creator skill part. I would be hesitant on trying to get a rate with your first level. Let's take a look though. All right, I forgot to check what's the difficulty. 6. Okay, it should be pretty easy. Actually, very good. This is mighty impressive for a first level. I would still recommend not going hard on a rate for your first project. Oh, does that kill you? Ooh, that is a big no. A lot of people don't like this. When you force an orb and then kill without a reason. There should always be like an in-lore reason in your level for why something would kill you, and you should be able to see that. I would recommend to fix this, move this small saw up closer to the green orb as a like visual indication to the player, hey, we need to hit the green orb, you know? All right, I'm not good with the swing, but that is pretty good swing gameplay. The visuals in this are very good. I love me some nice Simple Modern. And I think you did a nice job pulling it off. This part's really good. Wow. Crazy. Might be a little bit difficult for the difficulty you're going for as well, so I would maybe make that a little easier. And by easier, you can even make it by widening the sphere, it makes it feel easier. And that is something you got to keep in mind, is how the player feels as well. I love what you did with the song trigger. That's really cool. Certainly a good level, yeah. I do think that is rate worthy. I would work on maybe even working with the song a little bit better. Anytime you hear that click, have something happen in the background. Don't just use the song, let the level become the song. That's always a good thing to keep in mind. Otherwise, yeah, this is pretty rock solid. I would look at some of those later gameplay things and rework that green orb in the rocket. But really cool stuff. I would send that if I was a mod. Okay, let's delete that. Got 32 now. Wow, we are getting a lot of requests. I did not expect this. 23. J Plasma. Pixel Dream. So this looks to be short. Okay. Your idea behind the level is freedom. The feeling of freedom? Or the freedom to make whatever you want? Let us see what that is. I guess a better way to say that is let the song become the level. But either way it works, you kind of want them to be the same. So, let's take a look. Is this player color? No. All right, I would tone this down. It's a little bit bright, and that brightness, the saturation kind of make this look a little messy. I would lower the opacity of the yellow a bit, or maybe make it a bit of a more darker yellow. Ooh, yeah, that looks like it's gonna kill you. I would recommend raising that and moving the coin to a spot where you don't have to jump. Also, there is a really helpful button. I'll show you in the editor a little bit. It's called blending. Blending can make some of these colors look a little bit like it works better with some of the stuff. All right, song cut was a little abrupt, but oh, bright, cool end trigger usage. All right, I saw that you had the feature and the it looks like you do want this rated. For rate, you really should at least make it medium. Short levels only in very rare cases will get rated, and they have to be very well done levels for that to occur. I would highly recommend. Looks like we're using some great guide camera stuff. That's cool. So I would highly recommend making this a lot longer than it is right now. All right, this lava actually looks really nice in there. Yeah, so this yellow, I would recommend. Oh, did we use HIV for that? Oh no, we use trigger, don't we? Oh, I can't find it. Huh. I don't know why that's so bright. Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I would lower this maybe. And maybe even flip on some blending. Yeah. You see how blending kind of makes it pop up a little bit better? Maybe that's too dark. Yeah. I think it works a little bit better, especially with the dark background. If it's the yellows a little bit darker. Let's see. With this glow, I would put that on blending. Yeah. Blending will make things feel a little bit like it works a little bit better. Especially like this glow here is also on blending. Hold on. That's interesting. Oh, because we have a color 19 change. Yeah, I would turn blending on. And suddenly you got a very icy looking thing. It looks a little bit better. So, yeah. Blending, I would recommend highly for that. These things are also in color 19. Let me find that color. Turn on blending. They kind of just look a little bit better. It's a little bit more subtle in a way. So that would be my recommendation. My biggest recommendation is make it longer. Short levels don't get rated very often, so I would recommend making it longer. And experiment around more with that freedom. That freedom to build what you want. You don't have to take my suggestions, but experiment around with freedom. Make the player feel that freedom too in your level. There's a lot of ways you could do that in gameplay. I'm just going to quit out of that. I don't need that anymore. So, all right. Delete that. We have 34 responses. Jesus. Oh my. 12. I got another kind of expert level. Wow. How did I get 2 kind of expert levels? Ooh, are we putting in multiple accounts? That's not very nice. Usually it's 1 level per person, isn't it? Oh well, we'll play it. 1.0 styled plat. It is a demon. It was made for fun. So, let's take a look. Oh, I have not done platformer on a PC. Gameplay seems pretty fair, though. Oh, that's trippy. Wow. This is my first time playing platformer on a PC, so bear with me. You did a really nice job with the illustrating the simple style in this. Background is, of course, part to what we would expect. Looks really cool. Looks like you gotta go back. Oh boy. Ow. Yeah, this feels pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable, easy demon. Maybe not an easy demon. That's a lot to do between each checkpoint. What I will say is I wish maybe the background changed color. It's been this pink for the entire time. And that does get a little old, unless it changes by room. Okay. It does change by room. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Alright. It's a really long. I'm gonna take a pause there. I'll take a look in the editor. Yeah, it seems to be a lot of rocket stuff. Yeah, really cool concept. I will say I'm not sure if I'm sold on Platformer 1.0, and that's because a bit of the nostalgia gets taken away. Platformer didn't exist in 1.0, so it feels a little weird that you'll see a platformer level in this style. I'm not sure if I'm still sold on that or not. As such, I don't know if I would send this. I do feel like, especially with a room by room platformer, there needs to be a little bit more going on. This kind of feels a bit like a cop out. I know it's not. It's totally made for fun, and that's perfectly fine. If this was like requested in an actual like sending level stream, I would probably not send it because I do feel like a little bit more could have been done. But as a level outside of that is very cool, very fun, it seems like. Well, yeah, really neat. All right, I'm going to take a brief break so I can pee. So I will see y'all in a little bit here, and we'll do some more streams after I am back. I am back. Hello, hello. All right, we played kind of search level. All right, I got 34. 16. Let us see what 16 brings us today. Bunny Monkey 7979 submitted the level. A fun little easy level. Seems to be not much past that. I'm sure there's more to this, but cool platform room level. All right. Like and rate 3 moons. Well, this is a lot of downloads. It's 5 months. That makes sense. Aha, yeah. I love that the movements are choreographed inside the arcade machine. That's really cool. Now, what I will say is these designs I would maybe improve, as well as kind of work a little bit better together, because right now it looks a little bit like the execution's a little off. I would also maybe add some noises. Like this would be a great example to have joystick noise whenever I click, maybe a press of the button whenever I hit the button. That'd be really cool. As well as when I enter the exit, that having that make a noise would be really nice. I like that you have a background that's moving. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. I would actually even say don't do a background that detailed like the RobTop backgrounds. I would maybe go for a simpler one if you're going for that simple background layer. I think that could look really cool. As well as with all the shape themes here, I would maybe do a different block design, personally. As well as have stuff happen with the block design. Maybe it pulses to the music, you know? Just to keep it a little bit involved, so the players don't get bored. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, the gameplay here is really fun. This gameplay is awesome. I would just, visually, I think there could be a lot more done to help make its execution better. I think it'd be really cool if you had, like, since it's an arcade cabinet, have block design based off of different video games. That'd be awesome. Like question boxes from Mario, or maybe, I don't know, some, like, metal designs from Mega Man. So, a great start there. Gameplay, really fun. I definitely think the visuals can be improved, especially since it's a room level. Room levels, especially short ones, can get hit really hard because they've been done so much before. So really try to make yours stand out. Sync to the music, add some more designs to make it interesting to the player. That'd be my biggest recommendation. Make it interesting for the player to play. All right. Cool stuff, though. Let's do the next one. 33, so I'm going to bring it down. 27. Dayoaks has submitted a level. Chompgeist, oh boy. 1 to 5. Made for fun. Is this then that Chomp Trend? These little guys have a 50% chance to steal your orb. Oh boy, I'm excited. I've always wanted to play a Chomp level. Okay, now it says 10 here, but you filled in 1 to 5 as the difficulty, okay? That's not correct. Okay, so it's called Chompgeist. I'm not seeing a whole lot of chomping, you know? So maybe instead of people grabbing it, you could do like a Clubstep monster popping out and bringing it down with them. You know? Just to keep it more in with the theme of the title, as well as the theme of the trend. I'm not sure how far I'm actually going to make it here. Probably not very far. I'm sure each one's a 50% chance, so... Oh, yeah. Yeah, not gonna make it very far. But yeah, I would highly recommend Clubstep monsters instead of stick figures. That would look really cool. That is... Yeah, that's pretty mental. Wait, can that one be taken too? Guess not. Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there because I think we all know what it is. But Steelgeist, yeah, that would be a great name for it. I just want to see more chomping if it's called Chompgeist, you know. But if you want to call it Steelgeist, that be by all means go for that. But yeah, I it's a silly trend. I like that trend. Gambling. Let's go gambling. All right. I do have to stop in like 20, 25-ish minutes or so because there's a huge thing that's going to be revealed on my Discord, and I am excited to show you all that. Number 21. It's Nandex GD has submitted me a level. Robotic Nightmares. This is a demon. Let me take a look at what they said. All right, it's a collab. That's good to know. I would like to know more than that. Like, did you make it for fun? Did you make it to show a story? Or did you make it to, I don't know, challenge the player? That's the kind of things I really want to know. So, yeah, I would love to know. Is this a challenge for me? Is this meant to be a level you want to get rated? Looks like you are proud of it, so that is good to know. Ooh, that's a lot of camera filters. I don't know about that. Did I? Oh, I did not do that right. Yeah, I would definitely tone down the camera filters here. This feels like it's being carried by the camera filters, which just takes away from the actual level itself. See, this plays a lot better when you have it. Even it's still too much in my opinion, but I can actually see what I'm doing here. Gameplay feels pretty good for the most part. It's just a little hard to see and focus with the camera controls like this, so. I would maybe add a little bit more things going on in this section. Yeah, like that. That's perfect. See, that just adds a lot to the level. Even those little rings inside the decoration there really add a lot. And you can have those in the first part too. Okay, these colors I don't think work very well together. A lot of white that's really overpowering. This would be a good example of using blending to your advantage here, making those colors blend better together. I do like the effect you're going on with the block. I don't know if I vibe with the colors. That's the thing. Feels like cotton candy when it should feel like depressing factory, you know? Time and place for everything. I would highly recommend blending on all the white. That was a good use of camera filters there. Please do not do camera controls like that. That's just annoying. It doesn't add anything to the level. It's just annoying. Yeah, once again, gameplay's pretty solid. I think these colors are a lot better than the previous parts, so. Again, I don't like these camera controls. I would recommend not doing those. Camera controls are like seasoning on food. You want just a little bit to help elevate the level instead of, you know, detract from the taste. Right now, these camera controls are kind of detracting from the taste for me, you know? And that, I don't want to have my chicken be a saltwater ocean, you know? Just a little salt will do. Too much and it becomes a little hard to eat. A little hard to palate. I like that fake ending. That works really well. These arrows look really cool. This part's really nice. Maybe a little bit more going on. And I would actually recommend connecting the structures together. You know, have them grounded to the floor with some posts. That'll really help sell that this is a factory. If that's what you're going for. Yeah, just more connection between everything. Really nice sync to the music and that color changes. I think that's a great use of the glitch filter. Right there, I think was the best use of the glitch filter in the level. Because we're getting to the end, but it's not quite the end. You know, it's glitching out. That is a cool use of camera controls. And that's kind of like the flavor of camera controls that mods often recommend. So, yeah. Pretty cool stuff. I would recommend toning down the camera controls. Let the camera controls just be the flavor on top. And the level be the dish that people are enjoying. Cool stuff nonetheless. Love to see some collabs. All right. Forms queue right now is at 35. Sorry, 36. We just got a entry, so let me update that in the randomizer here. I pulled number 8. Kingdom of Bosnia 255 has submitted a level to us. Yeah, randomized. Kingsman Royalty. Level 1 of the Royalty series. You enter the unknown. This is a demon. It's an extreme demon. Oh my. They made the level because of nightmares. Represent nightmares? Or that because they had a nightmare, they decided to make the level? Is it their own nightmare? Is it someone else's nightmare? We'll need to take a look and see. Looks like it might be someone else's nightmare based on the description. Alright, what I will recommend is maybe... Yeah, I'm not sure what the identity of the level is going for. Let's take a look. I'm going to take a look at the video here real fast. I will leave y'all on that. Because I'm seeing some things that maybe don't agree with. Okay. All right, I took a look, and it feels like this level is a bit of an identity crisis going on here. There is definitely a showcase of a theme going on. We got some swords there. We got some structures that look like maybe we're invading a king's realm. Maybe it's the nightmare realm, you know? We got the castles there as you go transition into the castle section. The video said that this is meant to emulate the 1.0 style. But there's a lot of stuff that is not from the 1.0 style that I think kind of detracts from that goal. These fake spikes were not a thing until like 1.6. So these did not exist in 1.0. And then you erase everything on like an alpha channel, which that wasn't until 2.0. As well as coloring lines, that was a 1.5 feature. So it kind of I guess you can. It kind of gives that nightmare reflection by doing that, but it also detracts away from the 1.0 style goal that you're going for. Um, most of this is pretty good. This is a 1.3 block, so that kind of looks like it's from 1.3. I would recommend changing it to these grid blocks, personally, but the gameplay overall seems pretty interesting. It seems like pretty fun. A lot of these parts do a good job of representing 1.0, but there's just some stuff like these spikes. These spikes kind of take away from it, And then this part, changing line color to multiple different things is a 2.0 concept. Like that kind of takes away from the 1.0, This isn't possible in 1.0. I should know. I'm a 1.0 builder by trade. So I would maybe reevaluate if your goal is represent old style or represent specifically 1.0 style. And if you're representing old style, yeah, it's okay to do some experimentation with the line colors and stuff. But you also don't want to miss the mark of your theme. So make sure that if you're doing a Nightmare Royal theme, make sure it matches that before everything else. And then label it as older styled inspiration, A little bit more of that. Because at the moment, it kind of, saying it's 1.0 and having it not be 1.0 kind of detracts from your level. It kind of looks like you don't entirely know what you want. So that's just my opinions, though. That would be my recommendation. All right, 37. I apologize if we do not get to your level on stream. There's just so much stuff to get through, and I don't have that much time to get through it all because I got other stuff I got to get done. But Kafiri, let it go beta 2. All right. You're making it for a fan. All right. That speaks a lot. I wonder who this fan is or what they enjoy. We shall take a look at what they made for them. Okay. It appears they're going for like a layout style. If that is the case, I recommend do not use the blocks that you used around these orbs because they are not from this time period, So I would suggest replacing this with something more in line with the time frame, like a pulsing circle. That's from like 1.3. That would work a lot better because that rod is from like 2.0. At least that's my suggestion. So if you're going to be doing a 1.0 inspired level that uses everything, like all the features and stuff, I would suggest adding a lot more movement and a lot more going on. As it stands right now, this feels a little bit amateur, I guess. I don't like using that word, but that transition was really cool. I'm not sure how to do this duel. Let's go back a little bit, see if we can figure it out. Oh, there we go. Yeah, just a little bit of a weird offset. Why am I dying? Oh, you have a block here, my friend, that's invisible. Please erase that. Please erase that block. That doesn't fly. That's a little... that actually might be impossible. Yeah, I can't continue playing it. It makes it impossible. So I would recommend deleting that block. Otherwise, I liked the movement here. I liked the simplicity in the stars there. I would suggest adding movement to everything. This platform moves down when you touch it. That would be a great thing to do. These move back and forth on a cycle would be very cool. To really help sell like this layout style in a modern day, adding some movement will make it look amazing. I like what you did with the speed changes. That looks cool. The duel is really fun. I double check, erase this, and make sure that everything plays as intended. Oh, wait. It's not about, oh, you're supposed to jump but not jump here. That's what you're doing. Hold on. I would still rework that. It's very confusing. That's very confusing for the player. So I would erase that jump, actually. Because you got to tap there. And then... because that's not what it looks like. Ooh. I still have ignore damage on. Apparently that passes through levels. This part, I would maybe add a little bit more to the background there. Some grid blocks would look really cool. You can even turn them sideways to match the rest of the 45-degree rotations. All right. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. I would highly recommend adding... oh, your level got featured. That is awesome. Congrats. I recommend making more stuff move. Make it lively. Really emphasize the post layout style. All right. I have time to play one more level, then I have to get going on a project for my server. So, wow, we've skyrocketed in requests. Jeez, we've got 42. I'm so sorry I'm not able to play all of these, but I will play what is currently in the 9th spot on our folder here. And then I will have to end it, so I cannot do Amethyst, no. Panzer, Bonfire 4. Okay, I assume this is probably still in work in progress. Hard Demon, Insane Demon. Still work in progress, yeah. Finding the perfect song, coming up with the wave background effect around the same time. That seems really cool. I will give it a try and see if I can make something out of it. But... oh yeah, that is definitely Insane Demon. Yeah, you got some movement going on with some fires in the background. I would perhaps do a little bit more with pulsing. So like changing the color of stuff. That could look really cool. That was a bit of a sudden transition, but oh, because it's not done. Right, this is still a work in progress. I see it. I can definitely give you some feedback on the gameplay here. Ooh. There we go. It feels a tad unbalanced, especially if you're going for the hard and Insane Demon. Right now, it's a little bit too easy in this section. The beginning felt fine. Ooh. That is a cool background. Kind of like a, I don't know what, kind of like a triangular 9 circles level. Yeah, this wave feels pretty accurate for the difficulty. If anything, it's still a little bit unbalanced. Like, this is way harder than everything else I just played. So, I would recommend trying to get everything to be about the same difficulty. If you're going for that type of gap, you should make everything feel that way. That is a tight gap. Jesus. Okay. That's a cool effect. I like that. Ooh, I don't like quadruple speed. That's a me thing, though, so... That is a cool background. Your backgrounds are fire. That's a cool effect in the blocks. I would maybe add a little bit more detail to these blocks as well. Ooh. Seems to sync decent to the song. That's cool. Not sure how I feel about that click. Oh, it's a dash orb. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you got a good start to this. I would recommend making sure some of those beginning parts fit a little bit more with the difficulty, and then make sure it stays balanced throughout. Your backgrounds are looking fire. I would maybe work a little bit more on the execution and the blocks, kind of making them match the quality of the background. But great start there. Very good start. Okay, y'all. I know I got more levels in the form, but unfortunately we're going to have to keep it there for right now. I apologize if I did not get to your level, but I will be doing try to be doing this a little bit more throughout the next coming weeks or so. So be sure to catch me in a future stream if you'd like some feedback. Have a good day, and for those in the server, expect an announcement in a couple minutes here. So thank you all for joining. I will see y'all later.